Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's great to see all of your names popping up here from all over the world. We're really excited to share this session with you today. Today, we're going to be talking about Padlet's greatest hits of 2025. We had a lot of fun, did a lot of fun things in 2025, and excited to share that with you. I also want to apologize if you tried to join us a few weeks ago when we were supposed to have a session. We had an unfortunate internet outage. So we're glad to have this session to get back into all of those things and add in some extra bonus tracks for you as well. So let's jump into it. Actually, I'm going to keep going here. So quick introductions first before we get going. Also, I wanted to mention that today is a special 1-hour session. We usually do 30-minute sessions, which has been most requested from the feedback to kind of do those quicker sessions. But we do want to mix in some longer sessions, and this felt like a good opportunity since we have a lot of fun things to share and kind of like a year-end wrap-up. So if we haven't met before, my name is Zareen Levien. I'm the Education Marketing Manager here. I've been here for almost 2 years now at Padlet, but before that, I was in the San Francisco Unified School District for a long time. I taught for several years, and then I was a digital learning coach and the director of digital learning. So I had the pleasure of going into a lot of classrooms and working with a lot of teachers and a lot of students at different ages using Padlet and using a lot of other digital tools. So excited to show some new things to you today with Padlet, and also excited to have Julia here with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Carnes. I'm the product marketing manager here at Padlet. Nice to see you again if we've met before at one of these. I've been at Padlet for over 5 years, so I know a lot of the ins and outs, and I'm a pretty fast typer. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw those into the Q&A, which you can find kind of the upper right of your chat window, and I'll try to answer those. And we'll give Zareen some questions also to answer out loud when we have time later. So looking forward to answering those questions. I'll throw it back to you, Zareen.
Yeah, sounds great. Yes, we definitely want to have some questions today. We have a little more time, so we'll definitely pause for that a little more often. And it is true that Julia is one of the fastest typers in the business, so she will be getting to your questions as well. And if you stick those in the Q&A, it'll be just a little easier to find, but keep all the comments coming as well in the chat. Okay, well, I always want to start out our sessions with going onto a Padlet and doing something. So I'm going to send you over to this map Padlet. So as you might already know, Padlets can be in many formats. This is a map Padlet. So when you make a new Padlet, you can choose the format. You'll notice my Padlet actually might look a little bit different than yours. This is a little preview of some new design elements. We're moving the kind of navigation up to the top to just give a little more space. And the post button now says post, but that will be coming soon. That's just a little preview. If you want to come onto this Padlet and click on a post here, and my question for you today with all the holidays coming up is, what is a traditional or holiday food where you're from? And so I am originally from Boston, so I'm going to put that in here. I haven't actually thought about what I was going to write in here, but I wonder if I should do some figgy pudding. I wonder how we will do. And you can do an AI image, or you can do a regular image in there, and you can add a location either where you're originally from or where you're calling it from. Oh, wow, this looks kind of exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And then you'll see on these maps that it'll zoom in or out to your location. So as more posts come out, it'll zoom in or out to that. So we have a couple of posts here, and it's always fun to see where people are calling in from. I know in the chat, a lot of people put their location in, and now we're going to see it popping up on the map here. I'll also show you a few things as people are posting here. You have your settings gear on Padlet, and you can change a lot of things about your Padlet here. When you're first making a Padlet, it'll ask you for what format you want. But you can always come back here and change the format if you wanted to. Maps also have a lot of different styles. Sometimes when I'm sharing a map Padlet, people are surprised, like, what is that? Is that a Padlet? And there's just a few different map styles that are kind of fun too. So after you choose a map, you can have a more traditional map, or you can have a more kind of watercolor map like the one we're on now, or any of these different features. I'm going to click around here and see all the delicious holiday foods. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all these pictures or words. You're welcome to share with any of our attachments. Lovely. And for those of you newer to Padlet, when you post on a Padlet, as you were probably just seeing, you have some different attachment types here. And this Padlet, I've restricted those attachment types to just images to kind of capture an image of your food. And that is customizable right here under Fields. So under attachment types, you have some customization options here. So you can choose if you want to allow all of the different options, or if you want to restrict that a little bit to make your assignment a little bit more focused for your students. All right, beautiful. I see a lot of clusters over here on the East Coast of the US, some South America, and quite a few in Europe as well. So lovely to see all these posts coming up. All right, well, I'm going to take us into our agenda next. So let me come back over here. I'm using a feature called Slideshow as well that you might have seen before, where you can turn your Padlet into a slideshow with just a click. You don't have to do any extra formatting. So we've gone through our introductions. In this first kind of 15 minutes or so, I'm going to go over my top 10 features of 2025. And I've made a short video about that too that you can refer to later. But I'll go through those and allow a little bit of time for questions if you have any questions about those. And then really exciting, we have some bonus tracks. And I was looking at the things that have launched recently in the past couple of weeks, and there are actually a lot of exciting things. So I'm really excited to share with you some things that are very, very new to Padlet, and excited for you to play with those a little bit. Really quickly, for those who are a little newer to Padlet, I like to just do a quick tour. This is not a beginner session today, but we do have a lot of beginner resources that I'll point to you if you are newer to Padlet. But really quickly, at padlet.com, anyone can make a free account, and you can make 3 Padlets for free. We also have a special promotion right now where you can make this kind of Padlet, a whiteboard sandbox Padlet, as many as you want. So you can make unlimited sandboxes right now through the end of June. So we want to have people get a little bit more familiar with that new kind of Padlet. So that is available to you as well on a free account. So when you come to padlet.com, you can come to the Make page, and you have 3 different ways to make Padlets. Our boards are a traditional Padlet, which most of you are familiar with. Our sandboxes are our whiteboard tool, where you can make unlimited whiteboards right now. And then down below here are our AI recipes, where you can prompt AI to build a Padlet for you, and then you can continue to edit it. So I'm not going to go into a lot more detail right now about that, but I encourage you to go to the Make page, maybe after this webinar, and just try making some Padlets, making some sandboxes, and exploring a little more. Okay. I am going to come back here, and then I'll pause in just a few minutes for questions. I'm going to get into some of our new features, and I see there are some questions coming up, so I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. So here are our top 10 new features of 2025. This will be available to you afterwards, and as usual, there will be a recording afterwards as well. But I'll put that in the chat if you want to follow along. I just want to point out a few fun things that might have slipped by in 2025 when you weren't paying attention, or really when I wasn't paying attention. A lot of things happened as well. So I'm going to show you a few examples. This first one came out recently. This is a sandbox. So this is our whiteboard format that you can experiment with. You can add all kinds of attachments to a whiteboard just the way you can with a Padlet. So you have all these tools. And then in the 3 dots, you also have all the same attachments that you do on regular Padlet. And a new feature is if you have an image, I just double clicked here, and then I got these this framing box with these lines. And now I can crop images right here. So if I just want the skyline, I want to get rid of that a little bit, I can crop that a little bit more. Another thing you can do with videos is you can record a video right here. So my camera is just popping up, and I'm recording right now. And then when I'm done, can replay that and check it out. But I also have this trim button. So it's kind of hidden up here. You might not have noticed it. And here I can do kind of normal video trimming that you might be used to in other tools. So that can help you or students get the exact clip that you want. And you can just do that right here in Padlet instead of having to download it and do it in another tool. So Sandbox has a lot of flexibility. You can put things anywhere. You can have multiple pages. So I encourage you to play around with that a little bit more. The next thing I wanted to mention is a couple of new formats that we'd launched over the past year. So this is a table format. So this is kind of a fun almost like a spreadsheet looking format. What I really like about this is if you're having students post on a Padlet and maybe you just want to see it in a list format, you can flip to this format even later after a class. So you might want to start with this format, or you might want to come into settings under format. I might have had my students post in a wall format and collected all the posts kind of like we do sometimes. And then maybe after class, I want to check and kind of scan it and see what has been submitted. So I'm going to come to settings here, and I'm going to come to my table format. And now I can see it in a list. I can come over here and I can color code things if I want to. I can say, oh, I want to take a closer look at this one, or I can comment it. So it's just another way that I can kind of look at a Padlet. And again, with all of these formats, you can move back and forth between them, and it doesn't change any of the posts or content on there. And then one other format that is a return, a throwback to an older format, is our timeline format. So we've had timeline for a long time, but we changed the way it looked for a little while, but people really liked the old format. So we heard your comments. We brought back this older format with the actual line on here and the points, so that you have access to that one now. All right, I'm going to keep going through these, and then I will pause for some questions and then have some more things to show you after that. The next one is a personal favorite. I'm just a fan of real life stickers and online stickers and emoji stickers. So this is a fun addition that we have in Sandbox and we have in Padlet boards, where there is a tool for emojis here. So one simple activity that you could do is asking your students to share something about themselves that they really love. And then they could come in here and find an emoji and add that onto the board, whichever emoji they like, and they can participate that way. Another thing you can do here on Padlet is you can just have access to whichever tools you want. Similar to how I was showing you before, you can decide which tools you want to enable here. And as usual, if you like any of these examples, you always have this remake button at the top of a Padlet. So you can come here and I can make a copy of something. So I can make a copy of a Padlet that somebody else has made. And then I have my own copy here that I can manipulate. I can move things around or change colors or anything. And another thing, when I remake a Padlet, I can choose if I want all the objects or if I just want the admin only objects. So that means just the things that the teacher made or the creator made, to make it a little bit more simplified. So those emojis are really fun. They're available in Sandbox, and they're also available. Oh, here's another example of some more emojis, and this is a mood meter. So those kind of socio-emotional check-ins can be really fun with emojis. It's kind of a low pressure way for students to share how they're feeling and have a little fun in the process as well. And then we also have emoji reactions. So on boards, when you have comments or reactions turned on, you have access to those there as well. All right, this next one, I'll go about halfway through and then I'm going to pause for questions. I see some activity in the chat that I will come back to in just a minute. So this next one is a fun one. You now can add multiple photos into one post to make a little photo album. So these are some pictures here from previous conferences that we've been to. This is one of my favorites of Julia in a goose costume with some friends of ours over at Goose Chase. And you can put all kinds of images here. So the way you would do that is if you click on the plus button here, you can either add an image in a number of ways. I'm going to upload an image right now. So I'm going to come over here to my desktop and I'm going to add in a picture. And once you've added in a picture here, you now have this plus photos button here. So instead of just publishing, I'm going to go to plus photos and I'm going to upload another photo. And then I can kind of fill out my, my photo album here. So I'm going to put 3 photos in here. And now when I publish this, I have a little photo album. You'll see these little dots here that indicate there are more photos here. And then I can scan through those. So that's something that you can do or your students can do to add more photos into one post, if that's helpful. Screen recording is another really fun attachment that maybe is a little bit less used, but I think super useful. So I had an example here. I'll do another one really quickly. If I go under the 3 dots here and I come to screen recording, This allows me, kind of like when I'm sharing screen in Zoom or a meeting, it's going to ask me which window I want to share. So I'm going to come up with all my windows here. I could share the window I'm in if I want to do something in Sandbox and record that, or if I want to record something on another website that I'm on, or record myself presenting a Google slide presentation. I could do any of that. So it's recording right now. I can do some drawing on here, or I can use these tools. And I can stop my recording when I'm ready. Same thing, I can still trim it, just the way I was showing you with other videos. So I can trim that, and then I can save it, and then it'll become an element right here on my Sandbox. I can also do that in Padlet boards. All right, so I'm about halfway through my top 10 features. Julia, I just wanted to pause here and see if there's any questions you wanted to highlight so far.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions about Sandbox that could be interesting. I think one is what would make you choose a Sandbox versus a Padlet board is my first question to you, and then I'll let you answer that before I give you the second one.
Yeah, that is a great question. Yes, so the main difference is, so as you saw, both have lots of different attachment types and media types. I think the main differences, I'm going to go into some examples here. Padlet boards are very structured, so they have these post boxes around them, and they allow for these different kinds of organization. So you could have rows, you could have columns, you could have things on a map, you could have a table, and it's all in that structured format. One reason I also really like to use Padlet boards is it organizes the posts and the comments together. So if I am on one of these, for example, if I'm on this video board, and I want to have comments attached to that, that's really the best place because it's going to all stick together. So it allows for that kind of putting things in those organized different formats, and also attaching different comments and that interactivity to those posts. With Sandbox, the reason I would choose that is it's very free-form and open-ended. So I can draw right on there. I can put things anywhere. So I can do, actually, I'm going to go into here. I can do kind of a brainstorming with Post-its, and I can drag these around anywhere. It doesn't have that same built-in organization. The organization is kind of up to us. So in those more free-form collaborative activities where we're brainstorming, also, if I want to annotate something, maybe I want to draw in a situation like this with a math problem, or maybe I want to draw on top of an image or something like that. Here I'm annotating text on a Sandbox. And then lastly, I might want to have multiple pages or slides in a Sandbox. So for example, here, actually going to come into another one. Here I can have multiple cards. Let me go into one here. I can see you can have multiple cards, and you could have multiple groups or topics or a sequence of activities on pages. So it's basically, they're similar because they have a lot of the same media types, but they allow for a different kind of organization depending on the activity and the sequence of activities you want to do for your lesson. And was there another question about Sandbox or about something else, Julia?
Yeah. So I've been talking with someone in the chat also about ways to use Sandbox for multiple small groups. And we were talking about breakout links, which could just be cool to show to everyone. But it's possible that we might need to work on a different solution just because the students don't have their own accounts. But I was thinking about, breakout links and auto remake
Yes.
as some potential solutions. Yeah.
Yes. Let me find a good example of that quickly. I'm going to go over to here. Yes, I think there's a lot of different fun ways you can, let me see if I have a quick example here that I can build up. So there's a lot of different ways that you can share information in a Sandbox or in a Padlet. I'm trying to think of a good example here. So here, for example, just some fun opener questions. I have a few different opener questions on different cards here. And so you can imagine that I might do an activity where I have different slides or cards that I want to share with different groups. So I could make copies of things. I could duplicate any of these cards here. So I could duplicate this and make multiple cards and assign them to different groups. So I could just send everyone onto the same Sandbox and have them self-organize. Another thing that's kind of interesting that Julia was mentioning is I could share just a specific link to only this card. So if I want to come to the three dots here and I come to sharing, I have a couple of different options. I can link directly to this card and then have people able to access the whole sandbox, or I have this card breakout room, and I'll show you what that looks like. If I come to make a copy of that, this one takes me to a single card in my sandbox, but it doesn't have all the other cards. So it allows me to kind of give a specific piece of this to one group and not have them see each other's work. So sometimes that's really useful, especially at the beginning of an activity, if you want students to have kind of their fresh ideas, uninfluenced by others. And then maybe even later in the class, you could come back to this and share out with the whole class. And it's also a nice way that you can kind of monitor what different groups are doing. You share each of them their own link, and then you have this kind of main copy where you can look at the different cards and monitor the different work on different places. Great. Any other questions we want to highlight right now, Julia?
I think those are the highlights for now. So I think if we want to keep going to the top 10, that'd be great.
Great. Thank you. Those are great questions. Appreciate that, those notes. All right, I'm going to keep going and do just these last five are fairly quick, and then get you into the new releases that we have coming up. I did want to mention that earlier in the year we got an ISTE Creativity Seal. I'm really excited about that. ISTE is an organization that I've admired and worked with for a long time, and we have an ISTE Creativity Seal, and it kind of just shows how Padlet can be a tool that really meets the ISTE standards. And we have a few examples of that linked here. So I have linked to a bunch of different Padlets and showing the ISTE student standards and how it meets all of those things. So if you want to target something like feedback or online interactions, you can peruse our ISTE seal to learn a little bit more about that. And then also we have a ESSA Level 4 certification, and that shows a lot of the research around Padlet that shows how it's useful for student learning. So you can dig into that. And lastly, we have a common sense privacy seal that highlights some of our privacy practices. We take privacy really seriously at Padlet. And so this highlights some of the great features we have to make sure your information stays private, especially in the age of AI, where we really want to be more and more careful that we keep all of the data that you have on Padlet private and safe. We also have PD courses, and this is a great thing for newer folks or folks who just want to dig into all of the little details of Padlet. We have a 101 course, and then we have an AI course. These are quite short. This is about 1 hour. This is about 30 minutes, and you get a certificate of completion at the end. One of my favorite features that launched this past year was Translate Padlet. So this is a feature that comes up. So if I click into this example, I've already translated this one. I'm going to bring it back. So this is a Padlet that's in German. If a Padlet is in a different language, you'll get a little pop-up window to ask you if you want to translate it, or you can come to the three dots on any Padlet and come to the language and translate it into a language that you choose. And one really cool thing is that this Padlet is still live and active. So if I wanted to, I could add a post here. So if I'm looking at it in English and somebody else is looking at it in German, we can still both post to the Padlet, and we can still have our own views of the Padlet. So I can continue posting here in English. My friend over here can post in German, and the Padlet will translate on the fly. So if you have newcomers in your class, if you have a multilingual classroom, if you have a multilingual community with different parents, you can still participate on the same Padlet and have that collaborative interaction in real time. So really excited to see you all use this a little more. I've used it quite a bit when I've been speaking to different folks in different countries. I was just doing a session with some folks in Korea last week, and I used the translate feature quite a bit, and it made it much more understandable, and it allowed us to kind of collaborate and look at things together. A couple more here. When you're making a new sandbox, so this is a new sandbox I'm making. One tool that we have to help you make a sandbox is we have all these templates here at the bottom. You can make your own Padlet if you don't want to make use of those templates, and you can come to search all here to just explore the templates. So this just helps you get started a little bit and sometimes I use some of these in the way they're intended, and sometimes I think, oh, actually, I just want 2 columns, and I'll use one of these and then change it quite a bit. So you can apply any of these templates and then you can continue to edit it. You can see that I like food. So I'm saying, what is your favorite food? And then you can customize this, and then suddenly you have a Padlet that's ready to go that you can share out with students. All right, and our last one, this is my kind of number one pick for our top 10 features in 2025 is Padlet TA. And it's a little bit cheating because it's not just a feature, it's a whole new product that we have that is an AI-driven tool to make new interactive activities. And so I'm going to show you Padlet TA in just a moment, but I'll pause one more time and see if there's any questions before I move on. Julia, anything else we should highlight?
No, I don't think anything to highlight right now. I think you should get into your number one pick.
Great, thank you so much. And I have to admit that I'm leaning on Julia a little bit more for the Q&A because my eyesight is getting really bad. And I'm like, it's early in the morning and my eyes have not woken up yet. So I can mostly see what's happening in the Q&A, but I have to squint a little bit. So I'm going to lean on Julia a little bit more. So going over to Padlet TA, I'm super excited to share with you all the things over here. So I'm going to come to Padlet, and up here in the top is a TA button. And this takes you over to Padlet TA. You can also go directly there by going to ta.padlet.com. Anyone can use this. It's free to use. And what it is similar to our AI recipes in Padlet, where you prompt AI to create a Padlet for you. Here you can prompt with AI to create all of these different things, documents, interactives, and different tools. So the things that have been most popular are these interactive activities that you can create on the fly. So you can make your own matching activities, your own multiple choice quizzes. We also have a few other kinds of things, printable activities, coloring sheets, worksheets, and even some lessons and presentations down here at the bottom. But I wanted to dig in more to these interactive activities and show you how this works. So if I click on something like multiple choice, here I can put in some context. So I can put in a grade level, I can put in a standard here. So I'm going to put in a standard for 3rd grade about fractions. And then this is one of my favorite things here. I can actually put in a reference file. So if I have a lesson plan in Google Drive or on my computer, or if there's a link to something that's a helpful resource. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick a file. So this is a lesson plan about fractions that I'm already teaching, but I want some supplemental materials to have more questions, more practice for students. I could also customize this for more differentiation. So I could say, give me 5 challenge questions or give me 5 review questions. So I'm going to hit generate. And now we're using private models of all our AI tools. And what that means is they're paid models and they don't train on your data. So all of your data is kept private, and we're prompting AI to create this worksheet for you based on your lesson plan that you uploaded and based on the other context that I gave. So the context that I gave was that Common Core standard about fractions. And then this will take about 30 to 60 seconds to generate, and it's going to give me a whole multiple choice worksheet. And then I'll show you in a moment when this loads the different options that you have. So you'll have some different choices for how to export it, and you can even play it on the site. So that's what I'll show you in just a moment. And the suspense is just really building. I think it goes slower when I'm watching it and presenting to a lot of people. I'll also show you that over here, there's a chat window. So similar to something like ChatGPT, you can continue prompting it. So if you want to make some changes, if you decide you want more questions or you want to change some of the questions, you have this chat window available. So here we have some questions that are all about fractions based on the standard and the lesson that I provided. It has marked the correct answers here. And then I have some exporting options. I see a question in the chat about other languages. You definitely can prompt in other languages and it will output in those languages. Under your settings here, if you log in with your Padlet ID, you can change the language right here, and then you can create materials in whatever language you want. But I was starting to talk about these export options. You can have export as a PDF or a Word document if you want to print it out. You can also put it back in Padlet or in Kami if you want to have an interactive place. You can put it into Google Forms. And then this is my favorite. You can do a play link. So I'm going to copy the play link right here. And this allows you to share a link with students where they can play it right away. So here, I can play it on the site here, and you can share this link with all your students, and then they can play it. They can play it multiple times if they want. You can submit it, and then it's going to give you some feedback here, and you can try again if you want to. And so it can be that nice interactive, ongoing feedback for students and extra practice for students. So a bunch of different options in terms of how you can play with these, export them, prompt them, and really excited for you to try them out. And again, you can make things on any topic. You can make games, you can make flashcards, you can make sorting activities. And one very new thing that we just launched is this community piece. So this is still very new and still we're still developing more examples, but this is a library of examples to help you get started. So you can filter by subject area or by grade level, and then you can find things that you can use. So here, for example, is a planet matching game where I can drop these things into the different slots here, and then I can get feedback. So again, you can copy the play link here, or you can export this. So what I recommend in terms of like the process for how to use this and with the community, if you find something you like maybe I really want to use this planet matching game, I can use this as is if I like it, if it's just the way I want it. Or if I wanted to change anything about it, I could duplicate it right here. So I can make a copy, and now it's going to be in my library. And then here I can open the editor if I want to. So I can open the editor here and I can request changes. And then I can kind of customize it however I want to. And then I can come back here to my export options or my play link and then share that out with students. So a lot of possibilities here. As I mentioned, our library is still kind of getting fleshed out, but we do have a lot of fun things in here. So you can explore by science or by social studies. And part of the idea here is that you could get something that you use right away with students. And the other idea is that you can just get an idea of the range of things that are possible. So, oh, great, I could do this fun fill in the blank activity. And then I could copy this and edit it, or I could just start from scratch. I could come back here to my tools and come to the fill in the blank game. And maybe I have some more ideas now that I've seen some of these examples. Another thing you'll notice is there are little hearts here so that I can choose which ones I like. And then also that'll be nice information for this community library. The most popular ones will bubble up to the top and be sorted that way. So you all can participate in helping us kind of showcase those really useful examples. In the future, we're going to allow submissions here as well. So that's coming soon, where we would love for you to share the things you've created and share those with other teachers. So more on that in the coming months. I'm just going to pause here and see. I see a few questions coming up on TA. Okay, great. Yeah, I see a question about using these interactive activities with students and the auto remake link. So the auto remake link is something in Padlet if you want to make a copy for each student of something. In TA, it's a little bit different. You actually don't need to make a copy for each of them. The play link kind of does that for you. So once I copy this play link, I can give this link to all my students, the same link, and then they can come in here and play, and they will get an individual instance of this to play. So they will be playing it on their own, and you don't need to do anything extra in terms of making copies of it for them. And we'll try it out in just a minute so you can kind of experience what that play link is like. All right, I'm just gonna see if there's any other questions here. All right, well, I see some teasers in there about a new feature that we have that I'm gonna go into next. So some of our new TA updates, I talked about the community library a little bit, and I'll just talk quickly about audio improvements, and then I'm going to talk about leaderboards, which is super exciting. And I see some questions about that in the chat already. So one thing I wanted to highlight here is we are constantly working on the AI models that we use and the tools that we use. And so we've recently updated our audio generation here. So you can see that in all of these activities, you can also include an audio output
Cat.
here, and it will speak aloud the words for you, whether it's a more elementary thing, learning about rhyming, or whether it's something more complicated, but just having those that read aloud is helpful. So you can do that in your prompt. When you're asking for an activity, you can ask for audio, like right here. The prompt has said include audio, and we're hoping to keep improving those. We've recently switched over to Gemini to have improved audio in multiple languages and to allow for some more flexibility if you want kind of a slower, more clear word, or if you want a kind of something for older students that can be read a little bit faster. And now the very, very recent thing that just launched, I think it was yesterday, is leaderboards for games. And so we're going to try this out a little bit. So this has been something that was frequently requested. And maybe I'll actually go back to one of these. I'm going to go back to this one to show you, and then we'll try it out. Come over here. I can't make up my mind. Okay, here we go. Come over here.
Hat.
And so what you'll see here is when you share this play link with students, it's going to ask for their name. So they can enter in their name, and then they're going to play this game. And similar to other online games, it's going to make a leaderboard for you for who gets the most right, the fastest, and then it'll kind of rank them. And so it can be a fun, kind of a friendly, competitive game. You have control over this. So when it's a Padlet that you have made, let me come back over here. So this is one that I have made that we'll try out in a minute. When I copy the play link and I come over here, it's going to ask me for my name. And then since I made this one, I have access to leaderboard settings. So I can come over here to my leaderboard and I can decide if I want to show it at all. So if I want to let everyone see the leaderboard, or if I want to only view it myself. And I can also choose how many attempts, scored attempts I want students to have. So do I just want one shot and see how you do, or do I want to let you retry and see if you can beat your own score or beat your friend's score? So let's give that a try right now. I'm going to give you a couple of these to try. So I'm going to put one in the chat that we can all try together. So you're going to come here to that link, and then you can put in your name. You can also put in a pseudonym or a nickname if you want to, and then you're going to hit play. And then you're going to see how quickly you can do these matches. So I'm going to match these in, and I'm going to hit submit when I'm done. And then from a teacher perspective here, I can come over to the leaderboard, and once people have submitted things, I'll be able to see those scores, and you'll be able to see how you rank with other folks who have attempted this. So I will give you a moment to try that one. And I actually have a few of these. So I'm going to put a few others in the chat so you can kind of go at your own pace. So that was our holiday symbols. I have a world history, multiple choice quiz for our history buffs. And then for our pop music fans, I have a song sort as well. So I'm going to come back over to here and reload my leaderboard. So this is great. So I see all of you are on here, and I see we have a winner, Laura here, got all of them right in the fastest time, actually tied with Charlotte for the fastest time and the most correct, but you can see all of these line up here. And then you can see how many attempts people did. So if you want to try to dethrone these people on the top, you can try that one again, and then you can see the results here. And so again, you have some options here. You can decide if you as the teacher want to see that, or if you want to allow all the students to access that as well. And you'll notice that in your play link, you can also click on leaderboard since I've left that turned on. So I'm going to come over to the second one, and you can do this with any of these interactive types. So this next one you'll notice is a different kind. It is, actually, sorry, I've got the wrong one on here. This one is the next one that I gave you, this multiple choice. So it's a multiple choice quiz, but it still has that same capability where I have the leaderboard displayed here, and it's going to show me who's on top here with the time and the number correct. And you can also see here that some people have tried it multiple times, which is fun. And then let me go to the third one here. And I can come to the leaderboard here. And so you can see what the scores were. So hoping you can have a lot of fun with these. And the hope is that you can either use things in our community library. So I'll come back over here. So you can use one of these. And in order to kind of make use of that leaderboard for your own class, again, you would take one of these and you would duplicate it for yourself. So you have your own copy. You would share that play link. So let me do those steps. I would duplicate it. Now I have my own copy of this. And then I would get the play link, copy that for students or have them scan the QR code. I'm giving this link to all my students, and then I would be able to see the leaderboard for my copy of this. And so that's what I did on those. But you do need to have it be your own copy in order for you to kind of control what happens with that leaderboard and who you share it with. So really excited. That really just launched yesterday. And so we're really excited. It was often requested and coming soon with that leaderboard too. Right now, you'll notice, let me come back to one of these. You'll notice that it just tells you the number of correct. We're going to have more detailed information on which questions you got right and wrong that you can drill into in the future, because we know that that is really useful, especially if you're talking about kind of some more of the content-rich pieces. You might want to see, well, which questions did they get right or wrong? For these ones down here, and soon you'll be able to kind of click into that to be able to drill in and then decide what students might need help with different pieces of that. Any questions, Julia, that are coming up about Padlet TA or our new leaderboard?
So far, I don't think so, unless someone wants to drop something into the chat. Right
Great.
now, no, we had a question about, embedding TA activities, which is not something that we support yet. But I know that you and I are hopeful that that feature gets added in the new year. So
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we've had that asked a few times. I think that would be really useful to be able to put that into wherever you're presenting content. So we will definitely look into that in the future. So yeah, I'm excited for you all to try this out, try out the leaderboard, try out the community library. And just remember, there's a few steps involved when you when you're looking at something in here. You can duplicate it first to make your own copy, and then decide if you want to give the play link, print it out, or edit it further if you want to make any changes to it. All right. Great. So Padlet TA is a big one. Lots of things going on there. And we have a few other things that I'm super, super excited. This next one is a personal favorite of mine. So this is the Padlet Belts program. I have way too many tabs open. Oh, great. I can't believe I got it on the first try. Okay, so I will show you about our Padlet Belts program. First, I'll show you how to get here. So if I am on padlet.com, we have a brand new program called the Padlet Belts program. And what it is a way to give you kind of a certification to show how much you've been using Padlet. And you can find it under your settings. If you have multiple accounts like I do, you're going to need to go to your personal account here. These are other school accounts that I have. And then there's a new link right here called Padlet Belts. And when you click into that, it'll show you what color belt you have. If you're new to Padlet, don't worry, you won't have a belt yet, but you can earn one. The way you earn one, and I'll show you all the kind of details about this, you earn points by making Padlets and by collaborating on Padlets. So we have two kinds of points. And when you get certain levels of points, you get different color belts. So I have a black belt because I use Padlet all day, every day. So my points are a little bit silly because I kind of cheat by sharing Padlets with all of you and getting lots of participants. But you'll see we have all of these levels. And so once you meet 1,000 points, you'll get a yellow belt. And so each of these have different levels, 3,000, 8,000, and you will progress through these levels with the points that you have. you get creativity points for making things. So making Padlets, making boards, sandboxes, by making posts. So posting, when you post on my Padlet, you got some points for that. And then the second kind of points is collaboration. So that kind of points is when you make a Padlet and other people post on it or remake it. So we are encouraging these two kinds of activities because we know that that is a really, really great usage of Padlet, and you'll get the most out of Padlet if you're both creating and collaborating with others. So all the details are listed down here at the bottom. And we also have a help page with a lot more information, but it outlines what, how many points each kind of thing are worth. And then it also outlines what the different levels are here and what the different colors are. You'll get points each year. So right now, it's almost the end of the year, but you can still earn points. And then you get this belt for the whole next year. So this is your 2026 belt. And whatever points you earned this whole year will count towards that. And then it will reset in January. You'll still keep your belt for the whole year, but to earn points for the next year, you'll be tracking all year to see how many points you can get. So it's kind of similar to airline points in that way. Resets every year, but you get your points for the whole year that you've earned. So as you get into it, you'll learn a little bit more, but the hope is that you can enjoy these belts, feel like you're celebrated for your usage, and then you can also download your badge or certificate, and you can post it on your email signature, or you can post it on socials, share with others. And we hope that you share your Padlets with others and earn more collaboration points and try out making some of these things that I've showed you, like new sandboxes, new Padlet boards, and then you can earn more and more points. You'll also notice here under your analytics that all the Padlets that are earning points will be listed here. So you can kind of see how your points are calculated as you do more on Padlet. And so you can see which points you're getting from each of these as you add new things. And it'll continue to update. So if you all are adding things to my Padlets right now, I'm earning collaboration points, or if I make a new Padlet, then I'll be earning more points for that as well. So excited for you to share those and participate more in our Belts program and kind of make your way up those colors. And two last things that I want to show you that are coming soon that are in beta right now. So let me show you what I mean by beta. So under your profile image here, once you've logged into Padlet, and again, any free account can do all of these things as well. If I come into my settings, and I come into my personal account, here we go. At the bottom here is beta features. And so you can decide if you want to turn that on or off. What this means is you'll just get our newest features sooner, and it will just be by a couple weeks. So usually we put something into beta just to get it out on the site with a fewer users, and then about 1 or 2 weeks later, it launches for everyone. So we have a few new fun things in beta that I wanted to share right now. The first one is coming back over to my make page. This is one that is a personal favorite that I've wanted us to have for a really long time, importing from Google Slides and from PDFs. So I know that you all have so many materials as teachers, lesson plans, worksheets, all kinds of fun things you've been doing on paper that you might want to put in a digital format. So here you can come, so I'm going to come and import a PDF here. So you can just upload or link over to your Google account. And then it's going to take your PDF or your Google Slides, and it's going to put it into a sandbox. So it's going to put it into those pages or cards on a sandbox, and then you'll be able to use it with your students. So it'll take maybe about 30 seconds or a little bit longer to process. If you have a very large file, it might email you later when it's continue processing. But this PDF should be coming up soon. It gives you some updates here as you're going. So this PDF that I uploaded has a series of different pages all about different national parks. So it's going to come in a minute. I'll show you one other thing while that's processing. On your homepage, when you use that import feature, it's going to make an import folder for you right here. So you can always come back and find all your imports here that you've made. And here is my sandbox that it created for me. So I'm going to open the sandbox. And you can see this is my National Parks PDF. And it made all of these beautiful pages for me. So this is a worksheet that could be done on paper, but could be really wonderful done in a digital format, because now I can come in here and I can draw on the map. I can insert pictures in here. I can record my voice explaining what I think about these things. I can type on here. So I can make use of all of these multimedia elements. It's also easy for me to then share with my classmates. So I get a lot of benefits from being able to use this in a digital format. So excited for you to experiment with that, with those upload features. And that, again, that's on the Make page. You have these buttons right here once you've turned on beta features. You can import PDFs or import Google Slides. And then the last feature that I have here is also in beta. And this is a special feature that is for our Padlet for Schools account. So this is the only thing that I've talked about today that isn't available on the free accounts. This is available for our school accounts because it is a very school-specific kind of feature. We will be doing more with this soon. But we have our first iteration of having classes in Padlet. This is a long requested feature. So similar to something like Google Classroom, you can now have a Padlet class within your school account. So if I'm part of a school account, it could be a large account, but I want to have my own area for my class, I can now create that. And so in your school account, once you have beta turned on, you can click on new class here and you can create your class. You can name it, you can decide some of the settings here. This will also sync with your learning management system if you are connected in your school account. So we'll be setting up all those integrations for you. And then you can come here and make Padlets. So I made this Padlet for my class. And in this Padlet, I now have some different sharing options. So I have the same sharing options that I used to have. I can decide if visitors outside my school can use it, or I can decide if school members can use it. And here I can do something interesting. Maybe I just want my own class to see this and I don't want anyone else to even have access to it. I can turn off access for both of these and I can just have my class have access to comment or write on here. And so that way you can kind of narrow the focus and also just create this own area for your class. And then your students will be able to access things more easily. It'll be all organized for them. And it's just a nice way that you can continue to share things with just your class. So this is just the very beginning of our class feature, but excited for those with school accounts to explore that. If you want to find out more about school subscriptions, I have a link here that I'll put in the chat. Feel free to ask us more questions about that, or we'd be happy to speak to folks in your district to learn more, to share more about those school plans. So lots of fun things and more things to come in 2026. I'm going to pause. Actually, I'm going to give you one more Padlet to play on, and then I'm going to pause to see if there's questions. This is a fun activity we've been doing with some teachers. With AI images. So this one, I got this idea from some other teachers who'd been using AI images to create things related to the units they were doing. So if they were studying animals or they're studying plants, have students use their creativity and imagination as a kind of entry point into that. So on this Padlet, if you want to come here, just check that this is ready, you can click on post and you can make your own AI image. You can invent your own monster. So I'm going to say yellow, fluffy, friendly monster. And you can do this with students, of course. One idea is that you have them make up the characteristics of that animal. So what are their habits? What are their characteristics? What habitat do they live in? All of those kinds of things. And you can put a name for this animal. So yellow man. So allowing students to have some fun, be a little bit creative, but also start to think about those academic topics from another lens. So I will let you make some fun animals on here and then check in with Julia and see what other questions we're getting in the chat.
Yeah, I'd love to start with just a few questions about the classes feature that you were talking about. We have a question, is that exclusive to school accounts or is that available for personal accounts?
Yes, right now that is just for school accounts because it's kind of a more school specific feature. It's the only feature that I've talked about that is restricted to those school accounts.
And does beta need to be enabled by the school admin, or if a teacher in a school account has beta enabled, would they see classes?
Yeah, great question. So an individual teacher would enable beta. So beta won't be enabled at the school level. So you first have to have a school account, and then the individual teacher would turn on beta and then be able to see that. And then what you'll get is you'll get this little menu over here on the left side where you can add your new class right here.
Thank you for that. Those are our questions on classes.
Awesome.
And then just one interesting question I just wanted to see if you had any quick thoughts on. Someone had a question about how Padlet works if they send it abroad, maybe to like a language class in a different country. And are there any like tips or things that you should be aware of as someone uses it in that way?
Yeah, oh, that's a great idea. And I've seen some great examples of it's kind of like a modern pen pal kind of class partner thing that you can do on a Padlet. I think it works really well because it is such an international tool. You'll even see by the audience we have here today on our call, we have people from all over, all collaborating on the same Padlet. Works really smoothly for that purposes. And the only couple things that I might say about that is when you're on a Padlet, you can just be aware of the sharing settings that you have. So I can come here to my sharing settings and decide what kind of settings I want to have. Do I want to have everyone be able to write here on this Padlet like I am on this one? Or if I have a Padlet in a school account, I have some more options here. So especially if you're in a school account, make sure that if you're sharing it with another school or somebody internationally, that you do have access on. So I would want to turn that on for visitors, because this means people outside my school in addition to my own school members. And then I really encourage you to use that translation tool, because I think that could be, especially for if you're working with another country that speaks a different language. And that again is under the 3 dots. And so you can have this translated into a different language and still continue to use the same Padlet. And I just think it's a wonderful way to continue collaborating. You can make use of turning on different sections to guide students to where to kind of put things, or you could pair up students to comment on things. I think there's a lot of possibilities you could do to share things with people in different places. And then you could earn points for your belts as well. And so you could just bring it all together. So excited to share more of those collaboration features with you. Ooh, I love to see
And then one last statement. It's not really a question, but I just wanted to announce that we do have some people who announced their belt status in the chat. So we've got some blue belts, some red belts, and I even saw someone who's a black belt in the chat. So thanks everyone for checking out your status, and definitely do that soon if you didn't check earlier.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing. I know it's so fun for us to see who all these folks are with different belts. So we're excited for you to play around with that. We really love your feedback. We always read I always actually read it right after the session. I want to see how it went. So please help us out and fill out this feedback form. And let us know if there's different things you want to see, if there's different formats, if you like longer or shorter, or whatever you would like. We will try to meet the needs of different people in our future sessions. And then I'll also leave you with some other resources. They're here at the bottom of this page, but I will put in today's resources. We'll also be posting the recording of this, so you can check that out. Here is our landing page. And then at the bottom of this, we have a lot more resources. So I have more examples for you to explore, more webinar recordings, our YouTube channel. We have our courses that I mentioned. And then you can always contact us. And I really encourage you to contact us. We love to hear from you. So hello@padlet.com is a great way to reach out. And that can be if you have a question, or if you have feedback, or if you have a new idea for us. We would really love to hear it. And you can also put that in the feedback form. And then a very, very last little bonus feature that I have here. This is on a sandbox, and I was just playing around with another tool we have in Sandbox. So I can do some little like fun visual effects here. Wishing you all a very happy new year. This is on a sandbox, and I'll just show you quickly. I just put a black background on here and put this image in here. And then one of the features that you can put on any object in a sandbox is you can click on it and click on this FX. And I have some fun visual and sound effects so that when I play this, now I can have some fun things happening. So lovely to see everyone. We hope to see you at the next session all the way into next year. So hope you have a lovely new year and get to play with some of these features, share them with others, share your belts out with others, and wishing you all the best, and see you soon.